Please do not rush a house because you think they're a top house. Don't do it. So if you're not getting use out of any of these things, it's not worth it. And I knew at that moment, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. We don't let that fly here. That does not happen. No. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lauren and welcome to this year's Rush Q&A. If you're new here, hi, my name is Lauren. I go to the University of Alabama. I am a Pi Beta Phi there. I already went through sorority rush and I also have been an active through rush. So I have been the girl rushing girls and I will be a senior this year. So that means that I have been in my sorority for 3 years, almost 4. So I feel like I have a lot of advice to give to you. I'm very, very excited for this video. If you are interested in the sorority content, I already have a ton of it on my channel. I actually started my YouTube channel my freshman year. So if you're curious to know all about my college life and everything that I have done in college, definitely check out those videos on my channel because there are plenty for you to peruse. The video that first kind of blew up for me right when I uploaded was my second upload, and it was actually me rushing at the University of Alabama. So y'all probably have heard of Bama Rush or Rush Talk on TikTok that blew up last year, that made all these different headlines. And if you're wondering, yes, that is the University of Alabama. Greek life is very, very prevalent here, but I want to go ahead and say that you do not have to rush or be Greek affiliate to have an amazing college experience, especially at the University of Alabama. I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I want to say maybe 30% or less of the student body is part of Greek life. So it's definitely not something that you have to do. If it's not financially possible, if it's just not your vibe, definitely you don't have to do it. That is the #1 biggest question that I get is do I have to rush to have a good time? No. Literally not at all. I will say it helps your freshman year. At least in my opinion, it did. It helped me make friends, be able to go to different events. It was a lot easier to make friends that way, but you can still make friends no matter if you rush or you don't. I asked you guys on my Instagram any questions that you had for me. I grabbed a lot of good ones, so I cannot wait to get going, share with you some of my tips and tricks. I will also be posting a lot more on my Instagram and TikTok, more about outfit ideas, things like that. So if you don't already follow me on those social media platforms, I will be posting more about that as time goes on. But I want to go ahead and wish y'all all luck. I'm sure if you're tapping on this video, you probably are going through rush. Maybe you have already gone through rush and you are looking for advice being an active member. So you're about to be rushing girls, and I will be giving you my tips for that as well. I also want to say that I do not speak for the University of Alabama, nor do I speak for my sorority. I am speaking as Lauren right now. I am not talking as a Pi Beta Phi sister or a University of Alabama student. I'm not. I am myself. So whatever you hear, it's my personal preference. It is what my personal opinions and experiences are. So people will have different experiences. People will have different tips. They will give you different ideas on things about the sorority. So let's just say that before we get going. So let's get going with the Q&A. The first question we are jumping into is, how do you know what sorority is for you / advice on picking the right fit for you? So this is a really big question that I kept getting asked, and honestly, it is all personal preference. I would definitely take some time before you go into rush and think about, okay, what kind of values do I want to be aligned with? What kind of girls do I want to be surrounded with? Think about yourself and who you are and where you would feel more at home. I feel like it definitely starts before rush even happens. It's definitely getting your mind right and knowing what you're wanting out of sorority. I think that's the biggest thing. Some girls, if you ask them, they're gonna be like, yep, I just want to go out and party. And other girls are like, no, I want this sisterhood. I want the philanthropy aspect. And different sororities definitely give you different vibes. I am just going to be transparent with that. Some are more likely to have those bigger parties and want to go out more because those are the type of girls that they recruit, versus some other ones are very more academic based, philanthropy based. I feel like every single sorority offers a good balance of both, but I will just say some of them do more of the other things. Once you go through recruitment, you're going to notice that the sororities do have a different vibe about them. And everyone, I always used to hear this when I was about to go through rush, was you'll understand when you go through rush. No, you really will. I promise you, you really will. Now for me, my 2 houses that I ended up with had a very, very similar vibe. The girls were very similar. Just everything about them felt very similar to me. And I felt like at that point, I was comfortable having either house on bid day because I felt at home at both places. And if you don't feel at home throughout rush, that's okay. I swear it's okay. Rush isn't for everybody. And even if you rush a house and you think you love it through rush, things can also change after you actually get into the house. There is just a lot that goes into sororities and recruitment just in general that can make girls a little bit iffy and make them feel like they made the wrong choice. And if you do feel that way, I highly suggest going to an older girl in the sorority and explaining to them. I actually had a girl come up to me in Pi Phi. I mean, I think it was like the second week of school, and she was like, look, I really just feel like I made a wrong decision. Like, what do you think I should do? After that, I definitely spent some time with her, hung out with her a little bit more, helped her find new friends in her PC, which PC is pledge class or MC is member class. Some people call it different things. And it helped her also go through the transition of starting college, which is a really big thing already, and also joining a sorority. And as far as I know, she has had a great time since. Definitely always confide in your older sisters. You should feel comfortable doing that. You should feel comfortable around the girls that you're with. Please do not rush a house because you think they're a top house. Don't do it. Like, I swear, if any of y'all do this, I'm coming for y'all, okay? First off, if you do that and you actually make it there on bid day and you didn't pay attention to literally anything else that they did during philanthropy or sisterhood or whatever round, you're gonna be very disappointed when you stay in this sorority for a little bit if you just choose them because of their ranking. That isn't real, okay? Next question. Experience rushing a sorority as a slightly older member. So if you're new here, if this is the first video you've seen of me, I am actually an older student. So I rushed as a 21-year-old. So I started college when I turned 21, and I did that because I had a couple of gap years. If you're curious about that, I have videos all over that on my channel. They're older, so don't judge me too hard. They're a little older, maybe I should redo them. But honestly, it was slightly different, but I used it to my advantage. I always told the girls, hey, I am an older student, I am 21, told them a little bit about my gap year because it was a little bit different rushing as an older student rather than rushing from straight out of high school, just because a lot of the time when they ask you questions, a lot of girls will go back to their high school experience and what they just did, because obviously you probably just graduated. I obviously didn't have that to talk about. So I would tell them, I would be completely transparent because I know that I didn't want to be in a house that didn't want me. Okay, that's number one. You go to a house that wants you there because you're special, you're worthy, and you are loved. Don't forget about that, especially during rush week when you have all of these self-doubts. Come back to this video and remember, Lauren told me I was all of these things and I am. Because you are. Is sorority life like the movies? I'm not from America and have no idea. So I feel like at times, yes. At times, no. There's a lot more that goes into being in a sorority, rushing, everything like that, that not every movie and TV shows show you. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of these make sorority girls ditzy and dumb and they don't care about anything. They just want to go out and party. No, I don't think that that's accurate, really. I feel like the best one to me is Legally Blonde. First off, because I love the movie, but also because it shows the sisterhood. It shows how these girls care so much about Elle and how it is this big sisterhood and family moment. I think that's kind of accurate. Also, depending on the school that you go to, you might have sorority houses, you might not. At Bama, we do have sorority houses. They're not houses, they are mansions. They're mansions. So be prepared for that. If you do rush at a bigger school, like an SEC school, it's a lot. It's a lot. Is rushing a sorority worth it for all 4 years in college? So I can't fully answer that yet because I'm still in my 3rd year. I will say sororities are much more worth it for your freshman year. I know a lot of girls who just rush for their freshman year to get that kind of friend group and then they drop. So basically dropping a sorority just means that you are no longer a member. You just drop it, basically. So some girls do that. Some girls don't think it's worth it. I think it depends on how much you put into it, because if you're not enjoying it, if you don't enjoy the girls, if you don't enjoy the social aspects of it, if you don't go to dinner or lunch at the house, because at Alabama, we offer a meal plan. You have the meal plan that is included in your dues. Your dues are basically what you pay for the sorority each semester. It's different for every single university, every single sorority. So that's just something you have to look up yourself or ask your Panhellenic people. So if you're not getting use out of any of these things, I would say probably not. It's not worth it. Last year, I felt like my sorority wasn't really worth it to me, the money that I was spending, because I was never at the sorority house. I had to miss a lot of the date parties because I had prior commitments with different traveling and things like that for brands. So I feel like last semester was my biggest year that I regretted it. So I'll let you know after this year if I actually don't mind staying in it for 4 years because I will be on campus more this semester. And obviously it being my senior year, I'm going to try more to be more active in my sorority. But I definitely feel like freshman year, totally worth it. Sophomore year, if you live in the house, I lived in the house, I moved into my sorority room. I feel like that's also worth it because you're getting so much out of your sorority and you're always there with your sorority friends. But I will let you know next year. How did you know Pi Phi was a place for you? So, like I said, when I rushed, my last 2 houses were very, very similar. I loved both of them. They had very similar values. The girls were very similar, but I felt more inclined to Pi Phi because of actually the first girl that I talked to. It was actually during open house round, and I know Bama doesn't have open house round first. Basically, you're probably so confused if you aren't like used to these terminology things or whatever. There's different phases going through rush. So as you go through rush, you normally have convocation. That's like where you get normally like your t-shirts and you learn about the houses or whatever. You normally have open house round. You normally visit every single house. That's how it was when I rushed, but now they took that away and I think it's just virtual. Then you have philanthropy round where you learn about the sorority's philanthropy. Then it moves on to sisterhood round. You learn more about their sisterhood, and then it's pref round. And pref is the very, very last step before bid day. And normally you have 2 to 3 houses from my experience that you have at the end, and that's like when you make your kind of final decision. So during my open house round, I talked to this saint. Her name was Sydney, and we talked about Legally Blonde and theater and everything pink, and it made me feel so at home. The whole entire day, I didn't feel at home anywhere, and I went to Pi Phi and I was like, yes, absolutely. I will start getting Snapchat memories now that it's about to be August. I took pictures of Pi Phi before I even rushed home, and so many girls in Pi Phi actually did this. Like when I started talking about it, someone's like, oh my gosh, no, I did that too. I was like, oh my gosh. Interesting. I just felt at home there. Every single girl I talked to made me feel very special, very loved, and I knew that that's where I wanted to be. Also, fun fact, I know I talked about this in maybe 1 or 2 of my videos perhaps. It was pref day, and I was still kind of conflicted the morning of pref. I kind of was still leaning more towards Pi Phi, but I still really liked this other house, and I had a friend in this other house too. So I was like, I could be with my friend, I could already have someone there, but I still wanted to keep my options open, and I was putting on my bracelets for the day. No joke, this bracelet, it was a Lily Pulitzer bracelet. I was that girl. I wore a Lily Pulitzer bracelet, and I bought it maybe like 4 years prior. It was when they had like their sorority line, and I just liked the design. No joke, it was a Pi Beta Phi bracelet. Like literally, I looked at it and I was like, no way, this says Pi Beta Phi on it. And I knew at that moment, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. What is your biggest advice for girls going through? I would say definitely take care of yourself. Don't listen to what other people are telling you, and be yourself. Be yourself. I know those 3 are probably so cheesy. You probably learn. I've heard this 1,000 times over. Well, you're hearing it again. First off, you really need to take care of yourself, whether that be watching a movie at the end of rush, because rush can be hard. It can be long, it can be straining, getting your nails done before rush, doing a face mask at night, drink your water. Anything you need to do for self-care, I think is very, very important. Don't listen to anybody. No matter if they're saying good or bad things about the houses that you like, you just block it. Block it out of your mind. I don't care what anybody says. This is your experience. You are going through this. They don't matter, okay? This is not their rush. It's your rush. I had so many people talk bad about the house that I was going into. They didn't know if I liked it. They didn't know if I hated it. I mean, it was like any house that I was going into, you always have those girls who talk negatively or talk positively about a house. And I say, do not let that persuade you. And elaborating more on the be yourself, don't try and be someone else. And don't try and fit in to the girls that are already in that house that you're already eyeing. Because I know a lot of y'all go in with a sorority that you want to go into already in your mind. That is the #1 thing. You're like, yep, I'm gonna be this house, I'm gonna rush this house. And I hate to break it to you, that is not how it always turns out. And you might say that you want to be in this sorority and you're a legacy, which means you've had people like in your family be in it, and you have all the stats that they have and you look like the girls that they have. Okay, well then when they drop you and you haven't been paying attention to any other sorority because your eyes are only on this one, not a good vibe. Not a good vibe. I will tell you, I went into rush without any knowledge. I did not look on Greek rank. I did not look anywhere. Greek rank is stupid. Okay? Just point blank, no. No. Normally, it is a lot of older, middle-aged women trying to start fights between college-age students. It's the women who have peaked in high school that want to go back, okay? I'm gonna listen to them. No. Not the vibe we're going for during rush. So I feel like it helped me go through rush because I didn't have my eye on any specific sorority. I didn't hate any specific sorority. I completely just took it where my mind led me and what I loved going through rush. Would you go through rush again if you could? Yes. and no. I would not want to deal with all of the heat and sweatiness and like anxiety that I had going through it. But also on the other hand, I really had a good time rushing. I know a lot of girls don't enjoy their rush experience, and that sucks. That really sucks. I am very grateful and thankful that my rush experience was the one that it was. I definitely made the most out of my rush experience. Also, I want to tell you that please document your rush experience, okay? Coming as a full-time YouTuber who basically started her YouTube channel with the sorority content, please document it. Like, I don't care if it's like a TikTok or if it's a YouTube video or if it's just little videos and photos for you, please document it. Like, it's so nice to look back on, because I promise you, you are going to change so much in college and you're going to wish you had these videos and these photos to look back on. So no matter where you're rushing, if you make it through the whole entire week of rush, please document it. You're gonna thank me in 4 years. How expensive is rush? So this is going to depend on your college. Is that it? Panhellenic, maybe? I don't know who makes up the prices for rush. It would be Panhellenic, right? Maybe. I know in Alabama, you had to pay like a fee. I think it might have been like $300 or $350 that you had to pay just to go through rush. I think it included like 2 t-shirts, but like, really? Anyways, you had to pay that money, and that just like guaranteed you a spot in rush. Maybe other universities don't make you pay to go through rush. I know I had to, because like I said, Alabama's very big for rush, but I think it just depends. If you're wanting to rush this year, I definitely would look it up, because I know rush a lot of the time happens in August. Sometimes some universities do it early September, like they let you go through like the first couple weeks of school and then they rush, but I would definitely look into that like pretty soon. I've heard horror stories on how girls don't get in based on looks, etc. So I have also heard these horror stories, and girls love to tell them during rush just to psych other girls out. I really love the humankind. No. I can only speak from my experience and how I have gone through rush. And I will say that in my sorority and what happened in my experience, that is not true. They don't look at you and they're like, she's not cute enough. She has blonde hair, so we don't like her. Like, no. I've never experienced that. Now, don't get me wrong. Were there houses when I rushed that might have looked at me and they're like, she doesn't fit in, she doesn't look like everyone else? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there. I have heard stories from other girls that haven't rushed to Alabama. I'm not talking about Alabama. I'm just talking about other universities that have had things like that happen to them. And it all goes back to you finding the house that you belong in and that you feel at home and welcome in. You do not want to feel like you have to be dolled up and dress cute and look perfect all the time. That's not who you are. Be your true, authentic self. You should feel throughout rush that when you walk into a room that you feel confident that you can walk up in here with some sweatpants and your hair up in a bun with no makeup on. Like, you should feel that comfortable in a house. And that's exactly how I felt with my sorority when I was going through rush, is that literally, yes, I'm dolled up right now and I look cutie and I have this cute dress on, but come start of school, I'm not gonna look this way. And I felt that they would still love me and still care about me when I wasn't like that, and it's held true. So I feel like I can't fully tell you that that never happens, because I'm sure it does. Point blank, I'm sure that does happen. Girls are catty, girls are mean, and I'm sorry if you do go through that, or if you have gone through that. A lot of women have negative connotation and experiences with sorority, Greek life, rush in general, and I just want to apologize if you have experienced that, because that is horrible. And I can't even imagine how that must feel. And I hope that you've grown past that and you have grown into a better person because of what happened. That is just, no one should feel that way at all. Tips for round 1 intro video. So I know that a lot of y'all, since COVID happened, have to do a little introduction video that you have to send in for the houses to basically point blank judge you. Okay, I'm just gonna put that out blank. Yeah, they basically judge you. Not like hardcore, but I mean, it's just like, okay, you go to a dance competition, you go to a cheerleading competition, pageant, you're being judged. Nah, just like that. Anyways, I'm trying to watch my words the best as possible, but I want to give you like the full, honest, raw opinion that I can. Through this video, I would definitely set up good lighting, cutie little background, wear something that you feel confident in, and definitely think about what you're going to talk about before it happens. Don't just be like, oh, this is due in 2 hours, I need to go ahead and film it. No, don't do that, please don't do that. That is so bad. I have never had to film a rush video, but I do YouTube for a living, and I know that that only stresses you out and makes the quality of the video bad. So definitely take down notes of what you have to say. I don't know what y'all really have to say. Probably like your name, maybe like where you're from. I don't know. Definitely write everything down, know what you want to say, set everything up, and be sure you have time to make several different shots of your video, because it's probably not going to be a one take. You're going to want to have different takes that you can look back for. What is your go-to question to ask a shy PNM to help open them up? So this is more as a, okay, I am an active member. I have already rushed. Now it is my job to rush girls coming in, okay? So this is like what I would be doing during rush. So the number one thing that I always tell people is it needs to be an open-ended question. Don't just be like, oh, do you like rush so far? She's gonna say yeah or no. Like, this is not, no. You're gonna want to ask an open-ended question. Asking an open-ended question will let you know the girl a little bit better. Also, it might make you realize that y'all have a little bit in common where you can talk about something. And that is exactly what happened when I was in the first round that I was talking to you about theater. I talked to her, I was like, oh yes, I love theater. And she was like, oh my goodness, what is your favorite theater show? I said Legally Blonde. She was like, shut up, love Legally Blonde, my favorite musical ever. And we just got on the topic of Legally Blonde. And if you stick with just one topic the whole entire time, I don't think that's a bad thing. Personally, I don't. I think that your bonding over this one thing made me remember the house, and I felt completely confident in the conversation and feeling welcome there. How did you know what outfits to wear, and how did you find them? So when I went through rush, I used a lot of my older Lily Pulitzer dresses. That was when Lily Pulitzer was cool. Okay, don't judge me. I bought so many Lily Pulitzer dresses. If you do think Lily Pulitzer's cutie, it is. I still love it. Okay, it's not my vibe anymore. Oh, well, I think I'd still wear it. Like some things. Anyways, we're just gonna, move on. I bought a lot of my Lily Pulitzer resale priced, so don't think you have to spend all this money to go through rush. You do not have to. I also bought a lot of my things at TJ Maxx and Ross going through. I wouldn't change a thing. You do not always have to buy the most expensive and fancier dresses. You can definitely get them for a budget. I definitely did my own research on what the vibe was for each round, so definitely do that depending on the school that you go to. Sometimes you need dressier dresses, like if you're rushing at a bigger school, like an SEC school. Sometimes you don't need that dressy of outfits. I will be posting more inspo on my TikTok very, very soon. I cannot wait to show you those. So if you're still kind of on the fence about what you should wear for recruitment, check out my TikTok and it will help you. Can you explain the whole process? I'm going to try to the best that I can, okay? Let's try and go through this together. So going through recruitment, that means that you want to join a sorority. So you normally pay the fee to get in. Sometimes you have to send in a headshot, an intro video, resume, recommendations. It changes for every university. Also, getting prepped for rush definitely is buying the wardrobe and dresses that you want to wear. I highly suggest you buy those and plan those in advance. Please don't wait until the week before. Then there's also a thing called rec letters. So that just means that you have a letter of recommendation, and that comes from a woman who has been in that sorority before. I just posted on my Facebook, I was a first generation person in Greek. Like, no one else in my life had rushed or been in a sorority, and it didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me. So don't worry about if you're a first timer going through rush and no one else in your family has done it. It really doesn't matter. I don't think it mattered in my situation at all. So you find people who have been in the sorority. So if you want to rush Pi Phi, you would find an older woman who had been in Pi Phi. Literally just has to be an alumni from that sorority. They write you a rec letter, you send it out. If you have any questions about the recommendation letter process, I have a full video on how I did mine, the supplies you need, how to write the rec letter, how to find everything, all on my channel. So then it gets time for rush, and then that is the stages that I said a little bit earlier in the video, all the different days. So after you go through all those days, that is basically recruitment, rush. Then you have bid day, and that is the day that you open up your bid. It normally is in a little envelope. You open it up and you find out what sorority you got into. It definitely is kind of a mutual decision process. And then boom, that is the process. Is it bad if you don't want to party but you still want to rush? No. It's not bad at all. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, you do not have to party to be in a sorority. No, that is the biggest stereotype I get by being a sorority girl, is that all you do is party, all you do is go out, and that is not the case at all whatsoever. Now, do they have options for you to go out and have fun with your friends? Yes. They do. They have date parties. Sometimes they have swaps. So that just means that you meet with a fraternity, you get to know the boys, whatever, but they do not pressure you into anything. And if they do, go to your Panhellenic. Don't be letting that slide. I don't care what anybody says. If someone is pressuring you to do something or trying to haze you, you tell someone. I feel like a mama bear right now. I'm not, but like I feel like I am. I'm like, y'all better not let people do this to you. That's another thing. That doesn't happen. And if it does, we gotta tell someone, okay? We don't let that fly here. We have reached the end of the video. The last question is tips for us girls recruiting this year. You got me through my own rush. Definitely. Thank you, Emma Rose. I'm so happy I could help. So, tips for recruiting. Oh my goodness. It's a lot. I swear it's more stressful than going through rush. Like trying to find a house, it was more stressful for me. It was a lot. Definitely trying to keep the conversation going. People are always looking at you to like make sure they are where they need to be and they're talking about things and all that stuff. I definitely would practice. I'm not kidding. You don't even have to have anybody to practice. Practice by yourself. Like have questions already in your mind that you think would be a great thing to ask a girl. Some sororities might tell you like, oh, these are the questions we want you to ask. Maybe lead into this. Also because the different days can also kind of make the conversation a little bit different. Like I mentioned, we had philanthropy round, so that's when you learn about the philanthropy, basically the charity that you donate and earn money for throughout the year, and each sorority has their different own philanthropy. And then sisterhood obviously is like more about the sorority and things. Please know your philanthropy. Please know what your sisterhood is like. Know stories to be able to tell the girl. Like it is a lot of prep, but it is a lot of fun. Definitely just relax a little bit, take a deep breath. It is a very long week, so a lot of the things that I told the other girls to do that are going through rush, same thing applies to y'all who are recruiting. Please take care of yourself. Please stay true to you because that is what got you this far. Please don't try and change for anybody. I hope y'all enjoyed this video and I gave you some insightful tips. I am planning on putting out one more rush video before recruitment starts. So if you have any other questions, please be looking out on my Instagram to have the chance to have your question featured in my video. I wish you all the best of luck. I know that you are going to do amazing. Please stay hydrated. I'm so excited to see all of you find your home and go through recruitment this year. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to join the family, you can click that subscribe button also. I love you guys so much and I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye!